goodness sakes. Hey guys, it's me. Oh, goodness sakes. Oh, got quite a few headlines to go over. I've kind of pulled it together quickly. As quickly as possible, anyway. I want to start, though, with this headline from Donald Trump. And, well, it's from Bray Bear, but it's about Donald Trump confirming a plan to add more countries to a travel ban. Which, if China's not on there, I'm going to be just ranting and raving like a lunatic, like I always do. President Donald Trump confirmed Tuesday reports that he would add additional countries to his travel ban in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. The president commented on the travel ban during an interview with reporter Andrew Rastusa during his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The Associated Press last week reported that the White House was circulating an updated document that would include additional countries. Trump did not detail to the Wall Street Journal which countries he would add to the list. The original travel ban list includes travelers from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Venezuela, and North Korea. The updated list is reportedly set to be released to coincide with the third anniversary of the ban, first announced on January 27, 2017. While there are no new announcements at this time, common sense and national security both dictate that if a country wants to fully participate in the U.S. immigration programs, they should also comply with all security and counterterrorism measures, because we do not want to import terrorism or any other national security threat into the United States, White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley said to the Associated Press. So it doesn't mention China on there, but I would hope that that would be a forethought, just considering the deadly virus that is coming in, possibly from over there. And that would be, public safety. They want to, holler that we have to have these V's, so for public safety. So they should, if they're concerned about public safety, then I agree, that we need to have some kind of travel ban. They should agree that anyway. And then we have also, guys, a couple of, let's see, where do we want to go? I'm kind of just a little deliriously sleepy, going on. Well, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, so I'm going to go through these headlines and go to bed, guys. I am sorry. I'm going to try and get these out here, though. Try to discuss them a little bit. But anyway, worst license fake claims sparked the Iraq war, the OPCW report. Behind Syria bombings was altered, the whistleblower tells the UNSC. And that's kind of alarming, but that's more stuff. A former inspector with the OPCW has accused the chemical weapons watchdog of issuing a sanitized report on the alleged 2018 attack in Douma, Syria, arguing it ignored serious reservations of its own fact-finding team. The OPCW's final report of the Douma incident, released last March, omitted key findings of its own inspection team, which would have cast serious doubt on whether a chemical attack took place at all. A now former OPCW specialist, Ian Henderson, tired guys, Henderson told members of the United Nations Security Council in a recorded video address after his visa application to attend the meeting in person was rejected. The findings in the final fact-finding mission report were contradictory, were a complete turnaround with what the team had understood collectively during and after the Douma deployments, Henderson said. Hey, how are you? You look, it's a little cold here. Just a little bit. Even though several members of the fact-finding team had serious misgivings that chemical attack had occurred as early as July 2018, the organization's final report, compiled by another group that never even visited the incident site, nonetheless concluded there was reasonable grounds to all but pin the blame for the attack on Damascus. Sanitized of any dissenting opinion, the report ignored finding facts, information, data, or analysts gathered by the team in the areas of witnesses' testimony, toxicology studies, chemical analyses, as well as ballistics, the retired inspector said. I'm not going to read anymore, but as you can clearly see, we're not the only ones privy. Oh, you're so fine, hon. We're not the only ones privy to corruption and misreports and lies and things of that nature as well. We have also from Sputnik, we have a U.S. Air Force captain was found dead in apparent suicide after fleeing a court-martial. The body of a 34-year-old U.S. Air Force captain was discovered in a wooded California area on Sunday shortly after a arrest warrant was issued over his absence from a court-martial hearing. The Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, the MCSO, announced Sunday that the members of the department's SWAT team found the body of USAF Captain Kevin Larson in the Redwood Valley, California, around 1:30 p.m. that day. Authorities say that the Air Force captain fled the state in his 2018 Jeep Wrangler and was later discovered to be in California after he managed to elude a state highway patrol officer during an attempted traffic to stop around 4 p.m. local time on Saturday. Air Force special agents of Beale Air Force Base near Marysville, California, were alerted by the MCSO Saturday night and began searching the area in which Larson's escaped the following morning, while agent found Larson's vehicle and drone deployed by the MCSO identified that he buffering bad guys here. MCSO identified that he may have been in a Jeep Wrangler for some time Sunday morning. The situation quickly escalated after a single gunshot was heard in the area. It was then members of the county multi-agency SWAT team were hello, Christy, how are you, darling? Were called to the scene and located Larson deceased approximately 30 yards away from a vehicle in an elevated position on the hillside adjacent to the vehicle, the MCSO release stated. Police also found a high-powered rifle at the scene. Larson was facing a number of charges amid his trial, which began on January 13th, including drug possession, wrongful use and distribution of drugs, assault, fraternization, and conduct unbecoming of an officer, according to the Air Force docket observed by the Stars and Stripes. Earlier this month, two 20-year-old U.S. airmen stationed at the Spangdahlem Air Base in Binsfeld, Germany, were found dead in the dorm room. The January 9th deaths of the two service members, later identified in the Air Force press release as Airman First Class Xavier Lepard and Airman First Class Zessis Whitehurst, remain under investigation. Likewise, a probe into Larson's death has been launched, although the MCSO noted an initial scene investigation suggested that they wanted servicemen committed suicide. An autopsy of the Air Force captain is scheduled for January 22nd and will result in a official cause of death. And this is so sad. So many people committing suicide in the Air Force. I mean, obviously he was being court-martialed for drugs, but that's alarming. I mean, everywhere they're making drugs legal, so I don't know exactly. Yeah, suicide. And he was a captain. I mean, so he's been in the military for a while. It just doesn't make sense. Not to me, anyway. Anyway. Hey, Josh, how are you, hun? Then we have this report from Fox News that says that there is more U.S. troops flown out of Iraq. Oh, hold on. More U.S. troops flown out of Iraq after Iran missile attacks, officials say. Should the U.S. call Iraq's bluff and pull troops out of the country? Additional U.S. troops have been flown out of Iraq for closer evaluation of potential concussion injuries from the Iranian missile attack of January 8th, U.S. defense officials said Tuesday. The exact numbers of troops flown to Germany was not immediately clear, but officials said it was a small number. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because some details were still being sorted out. Last week, 11 U.S. servicemen were flown from Iraq to U.S. medical facilities in Germany and Kuwait for further evaluation of a concussion-like symptoms. Navy Captain Bill Urban, spokesperson for the U.S. Central. It's me again, guys. Navy Captain Bill Urban, spokesperson for the U.S. Central Command, which oversees the military operations across the Middle East, confirmed that additional evacuations, but did not say how many were included. As medical treatment and evaluations in the theater continue, service members have been identified as having potential injuries. Urban said Tuesday evening these service members, out of an abundance of caution, have been transported to Landstuhl, Germany for further evaluations and necessary treatment on an outpatient basis. Given the nature of the injuries already noted, it is possible additional injuries may be identified in the future. As recently as last Tuesday night, President Donald Trump said he had been told no American had been harmed in Iranian missile strike. The question of American casualties was especially significant at the time because the missile attacks result were seen as an influence as U.S. decisions on whether to retaliate or to risk a broader war with Iran. Trump chose not to retaliate, and the tensions with Iran have eased somewhat in the days following the Iranian attack. Medical screening determined that some who took cover during the attack were suffering from concussion-like symptoms. No one was killed in the attack on Ain al-Assad Air Base in the western Iraq. The strike was launched in retaliation for the U.S. drone missile strike that killed Soleimani, the most powerful military general in Iran, on January 3rd. And, this is just so alarming, guys, to think that we are not going to be allowed to retaliate. We're supposed to just sit there and take the incoming missiles. And you guys, I continue to say this. It's sad. Sad, sad, sad. And, there was also a veteran New Jersey cop today from Fox News reports that a veteran New Jersey cop fatally shoots himself while first responders attempt to free him from a car wreck, reports. A veteran New Jersey police officer fatally shot himself in the head over the weekend as first responders attempted to free the off-duty cop from a car wreck, marking the latest in a growing number of police suicides. Roswell Park police officer Edward Northup, 39, was driving in Manhattan Sunday afternoon when he reportedly lost control of his vehicle, crashing into two parked cars before partially rolling over in front of Manhattan Municipal Community Center, reported. Northup was trapped. Come on. As first responders left the vehicle to get equipment to help with the extraction, the driver located a firearm and fatally shot himself, a spokesperson for Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office told the New York Post in an email. Police Chief Daniel McCaffrey confirmed Nordstrom's manner of death, saying in a separate statement that he removed a gun in his possession and fired one shot, tragically taking his own life. It was not immediately clear from either report if the firearm used was his service weapon. Northrop was a 13-year veteran with the department, most recently working with the Detective Bureau. Patrolman Northrop was a co-worker, friend, and a brother, the department said in a statement on Monday, always willing to help others, Patrolman Northrop was a well-respected member of the law enforcement community and will be sorely missed. He was also a married father of a 15-month-old girl. For those fortunate enough to have known or worked with the officer, Northrop will be remembered him fondly as a caring, compassionate, and kind-hearted person. New Jersey saw 17 police suicides last year and 37 since 2016. NJersey.com reported. This has prompted the Attorney General's office to launch a program requiring every officer in the state to take a 2-day training course on mental health by the end of 2022. They need to do something. What is up? Everybody wants to kill themselves? And to have a 15-month-old baby? I know. Praise the Lord, Drain. Praise God. That is so awesome. I am so glad. I know, right? I mean, it truly is sad, Scan. I mean, it truly is. It's a sad time where you have so many law enforcement, so many military committing suicide. I from either stress, I'm sure, stress and the things that they see, I can only imagine. And then to have so many people hate them and they put their life on the line every day for them. They would take a bullet for you. And that's sad to have so much disdain for someone that every day goes out there and does an amazing job for you and me. Um, Now, this here is that article, one of many articles, I'm sure. But here's an article from Zero Hedge that talks about the global health officials on high alert as Wuhan virus makes U.S. landfall. Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, Xinjiang, Henan, Taipei, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Seoul, Tokyo, Brisbane, Taipei, and now Washington State. The problem with our troops is they are often try to seek help, but they are told the first appointment is weak. And that is sad. And if someone seeks help, they should be able to get in. I mean, they need to either up the money or I don't know what they need to do to get professionals in the field to where they're able to take in more patients or whatever. But you shouldn't have to wait so long. That is truly sad, Scan. The viral pneumonia-like lung illness first discovered last year in Wuhan, a mid-sized Chinese city in the center of the country, has Beijing's leadership, who already is grappling with the slow economic growth and continuing trade pressure from the U.S., a very much on edge. It's clear now that Beijing's initial response to reports of the new SARS-like virus was to dissemble, after initially insisting that there was no evidence that the virus could be spread by humans. Health officials have now admitted that they were wrong and that human-to-human transmission is possible, meaning that there's no telling yet just how contagious this thing really is. It has already spread rapidly. That's true, Terry. Oh my goodness sakes, that's horrible, Scan. It has spread rapidly in just a few weeks. It has gone... It's no big deal, only 6... What are you talking about, Kevin? It's already spread rapidly in just a few weeks. It's gone from a few isolated cases in Wuhan to nearly 300 confirmed cases, not just in a greater China, but also across the Asia Pacific region, and now in the U.S. The fact that the CDC has already identified the first case in Washington State suggests that this is an aggressive pathogen, and health officials are duly concerned. It has already confounded expectations. The fact that 139 cases, roughly half the total number reported, were only just identified over the weekend is especially unnerving because now infected hosts have had time to scatter back to weather their form, potentially spreading the virus across the planet. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. case They need to. Most definitely. According to the Bloomberg, the U.S. cases have been revealed to be a man in his 30s who has returned to the U.S. last week, but not before visiting a public market in Wuhan. Well, I don't think people are panicking, but when you get 300 in a short period of time and then you get it coming to America, it is not a good thing, Kevin. The sudden spike in cases has prompted airports in the U.S., Australia, and elsewhere to tighten illnesses, as prompted tighten borders and a rapid attempt to trace contacts of those who have become ill. And you have to remember too, Kevin, we're talking about China is where this stuff is, and they don't let that information come out so easily. So the mere fact that they're reporting that there's 300 or however many cases, there could be 3,000, there could be 300,000. We don't know, in all honesty. On Wednesday, right, and it's gone up since then. It's like 300. It said that first of the article said 194 in just the weekend. Exactly. Well, and we don't know that 10 people haven't been infected, though. That's just it. We don't know what the incubation time is. La la la. I'm tired, guys. And you don't know, I mean, and we don't know who all has been in contact with that person and where all he's been and who's been there and where they've been and everything else. Um, just saying. With the globe, and it only takes one case, and that's it. With the global health officials on high alert, local authorities in Wuhan have announced that the city has 800 hospital beds ready in 3 separate designated care hospitals, and it's ready to have 1,200 prepared at a short notice, according to local media reports. With the Chinese New Year travel season about to begin, many fear that millions of Chinese traveling abroad or internally for vacation will help the virus spread at an exponential rate. Chinese health officials have played down the possibility of this, but they have also said that they don't want to underestimate it. After all, the last major outbreak of SARS in 2003 killed 800 people. And it said, update it. Oh, sorry, my eyes are watering because I'm tired. Oh, well, thank you, Arjax. It's possible because of all of you. And we don't want to let you guys down, that's for sure. Oh, oh mercy, guys. Oh, I don't want to start rubbing my eye because then I'll have mascara all over my face. And that's not a pretty sight. Um, the CDC has confirmed that a traveler from China has been diagnosed in Seattle with Wuhan coronavirus. So I guess they're calling it after the market place where it first started. The patient who was hospitalized with pneumonia last week recently had traveled to Wuhan, China, where the outbreak appears to have originated. Federal officials have found. Officials declined to identify the patient, who's said to be quite ill. Additionally, on a conference call, the CDC confirmed its exports more than U.S. cases to come. The outbreak began at a market in China and now has spread to at least 4 other countries and has killed at least 6 people and sickened hundreds in Asia. And that's, I think, why everybody is alarmed, Kevin, is because it's in 4 other countries. And they're just telling you that there's just few hundred cases and only 6 deaths. But for it to have gone so quickly to be over here. Oh, amen, Amanda. Yes, most definitely. Um, you heard there was some virus is in DC. I've been taking my hand sanitizer, and I have been doing what Scan suggested with some Neosporin. And she knows what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to do everything I can to protect us. That is for sure. But outside of, barricading ourselves in a hotel room, I'm not afraid to live. I'm here for God, and that's what I'm on a mission. He's got me here on a mission, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to back down. I put my life and hands in the Lord. I'm trying not to, but my eyes are watering. I really am. And lavender oil. I don't have any lavender oil with me. I have some at home. I did not think about that though. Anyway, so I think that's why everybody is because it has spread so far in a short period of time, and for them to say there's just a couple hundred of cases, I call foul on that. Just saying. And I hope everybody else does as well. And then we have a plague of locusts, earthquakes in diverse places, and weather that has gone completely nuts. And this comes from Zero Hedge. It says, it is almost as if someone flipped some sort of switch as 2020 began, because we have been seeing really weird things happening all over the globe so far this year. Later in this article, I want to talk to you about the large earthquakes and strange weather events that we have seen over the past few days. But first, I want to discuss the massive armies of locusts that are voraciously eating crop in Asia and in Africa right now, a deadly invasion by the millions and millions of locusts in India is absolutely devastating farm after farm, and the media in India is calling this locust invasion the worst in over 6 decades. Parts of Gujarat and Rajasthan are in the middle of the deadliest invasion by millions and millions of locusts, leaving the farmers there in distress. The invasion, which began in October, is said to be the worst in over 6 decades. According to the reports, crops of the 3.6 hectares in the 10 districts as western Rajasthan have been damaged by the locusts. So far, the locust warning organizations said the current wave of attack was by the pink locusts, which are flying in from Pakistan. As bad as things are in India, the truth is they are even worse in Africa. According to the UN, the desert locusts that have been ravaging the fields in Ethiopia and Somalia are now pouring into Kenya. The UN has warned of a significant and extremely dangerous escalation. Now you tell me, Arjax. Okay, uh, I'll have to write that down. I'll come back and look at it later. And you're a joker. I hear you, Kevin. Um, The tropical grasshoppers have been wreaking havoc on Kenya's neighbors to the northeast and devouring tens of thousands of hectares in the crop in Ethiopia and Somalia since last June. Here in the United States, we tend to think of a swarm as a few hundred insects. But over in Africa, these swarms can literally take over an entire section of the country. For example, the FAO says that one of the locust swarms in Kenya measured 2,400 square kilometer. Each square kilometer of locust in a swarm can eat as much in a day as 35,000 people, according to the FAO. One locust swarm is seen in Kenya measured 2,400 square kilometers. There is an unprecedented threat to the food security and livelihoods across the Horn of Africa, the FAO said. I can't even imagine what 2,400 square kilometer locust army would look like, but I can think that it is fair to say that if it qualifies as a plague of locusts. Meanwhile, earthquakes continue to pop up in unusual places. For example, ABC News is reporting that a magnitude 4.5 quake hit Kansas on Sunday. The U.S. Geological Survey said a magnitude of 4.5 earthquake struck about 2 miles southwest of Hutchinson shortly after 1. The service had initially reported that it was a magnitude of 4.4 earthquake, but later upgraded it. And this earthquake comes just a few months after there was very suspicious swarm of 17 earthquakes in that same area of central Kansas. And that's where I believe Scan is in that general area, and I know she said she felt it. I don't know that I have any tea here, though. I think they have some tea. I'll have to go get me some lemon, though. Yep. Um, the earthquake struck the Kansas Corporation Commission investigators of the cause of the swarms of the 17 earthquakes in 5 days in August. The same area is central Kansas. The regulatory agency's investigation is focused on the underground disposal of the oil field waste that's been blamed for quakes elsewhere in southern Kansas. I saw something about 2 off spray. I'll have to. Oh, wow. That would be pretty scary. I would say Scan. On the other side of the globe, a very strong magnitude of 6 hit Indonesia this weekend. A strong inland earthquake has struck Indonesia's eastmost part, Papua Providence, but there was no immediate reports of a major damage or casualties. The U.S. Geological Survey says a magnitude of 6.0 quake was centered at 141 kilometers west of Abapura, a city of the depth of 33.6 kilometers. But these days, these large quakes are happening so frequently that they barely. Hey, Arjax. Oh, I didn't lost my spot. I saw my name. But these days, these large earthquakes are happening so frequently that they barely make a blip in the news. A similarly large earthquake just hit China, but it hardly anyone in the U.S. even knew about it. Okay. You sent me a post on the Second Amendment. You sent me a second post this morning. I haven't been in my email. So if you sent me an email, I haven't seen the emails. I haven't checked them. I've been at the Congress building early this morning, and I haven't checked any emails. But I will check my email when we get done here. I promise. But these days, the large quakes, okay. According to the reports, a powerful magnitude of 6.4 has struck Chiahe County in the now county of northwest China, autonomous Xinjiang. The earthquake was reported to have a depth of 165 miles an hour. If you live in the city at the airport, that Chicago, Atlanta. No, that's true. Oh, on my second post, okay. I will definitely go back and look at all my posts. That's for sure. The witnesses say that the shaking was felt in the cities of Kashgar and Arturix. At this time, there are no reports of fatalities or damage. This is the third earthquake. Huh, that's kind of strange, huh, Tony? We've been seeing a lot of Chinooks helicopters in Indiana. That is for sure, Christy. Okay. The quake in China was later downgraded to a 6, but that is still a very significant quake. In some parts of this planet, the shaking simply does not stop. Over in the Philippines, there have been more than 400 quakes associated with the eruption of Taal volcano since last Sunday. Since Sunday, a staggering 466 earthquakes have been recorded, and experts warn more eruptions may still come. Of those quakes, 156 were recorded as being the intensity 1 to a 4. The Philvox volcano monitoring the eruption prediction division chief Machon Bornas said for the volcanic earthquakes, that is strong. Hey MG, how are you, babe? And as I have written about previously, more than 1,000 earthquakes have shaken Puerto Rico in the recent weeks. Many residents continue to sleep outside because they are deathly afraid that their home will collapse on top of them while they are sleeping if another big quake suddenly strikes. On top of everything else, global weather patterns continue to go haywire. In Alberta, the weather has actually been colder than it has been in Mars. The highest temperature recorded on the red planet Wednesday morning was minus 17 degrees Celsius, according to NASA, which was still a few degrees above Alberta, which was the warmest temperature record, minus 21.2 degrees Celsius at Nakiska Ridge in Kanakaskis County. In Calgary, Calgary, it reached a low minus 31.2 Celsius earlier Wednesday, according to the Environment Canada, while in Edmonton, the mercury dipped to minus 34 Celsius. And along with Mars, Alberta was colder than the number of well-known spots like Siberia, which sat at minus 11 Celsius Wednesday morning, and New Greenland, where it was minus 12 degrees Celsius. And in Newfoundland, a devastating blizzard packing winds of up to 98 miles per hour dumped an all-time record of 30 inches of snow on St. John's. That's a lot of snow, guys. Premier Dwight Ball said that he had asked for federal government's assistance, including mobilizing the armed forces after a blizzard battered eastern Newfoundland. Rob Carroll, a meteorologist with Environment Canada, said St. John had experienced a one-day snowfall of 76.2 centimeters. 30 inches, breaking the previous record of a 68.4 centimeters inches on April 5th, 1999. On the most daily basis, we are seeing natural disasters happen like that are unlike anything we have ever seen before, and what we have witnessed so far is just the beginning. Despite of all our advanced technology, we remain exceedingly dependent on natural environment that surrounds us, and the natural environment is becoming increasingly unstable. We are truly entering uncharted territory, and most people can't even imagine the great challenges that lie ahead for us all. And that's why it's so important to be right with the Lord. It tells all of this stuff in His Word. It does, it does, it does. Okay. We already talked about that. And then my last article is from the Wall Street Journal, and birth pangs, exactly. I have listened to the Prophecy Club. I have, truth be told. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I have listened to it. As Trump impeachment trial begins, McConnell changes some rules. Washington President Trump's legal team clashed with Democrats over the allegations of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress as senators weighed rules for the third presidential impeachment trial in history. Before the session started on Tuesday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, altered his own proposed rules issued a day earlier after Democrats and key centrist Republican objected to his plan to squeeze 24 hours of opening arguments by the prosecution and defense in 2 days. Each instead side is now scheduled to get 3 days, and Mr. McConnell also said evidence gathered in the House impeachment probe over the fall would be automatically entered into the Senate record, reversing his earlier stance. The resolution sets up a structure that is fair, even-handed, and tracks closely with past precedents that were established unanimously, Mr. McConnell said. Mr. Trump was out of the country touting the U.S. jobs and trade record in a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, in which he didn't mention impeachment. In an interview, the Republican president repeated his long-standing criticism of his impeachment, saying, "I did absolutely nothing wrong. It's a total hoax." During Tuesday's debate, conducted in the Senate chamber and presided over the Chief Justice John Roberts. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, the chamber's Democratic leader, proposed the subpoenas be issued for White House and State Department documents related to Mr. Trump's dealings with Ukraine. The Trump administration was held with those documents and blocked several witnesses from appearing, and while Mr. McConnell's rules call for a later vote on whether to call new witnesses and documents, Democrats said they wanted guarantees. Mr. Schumer cited Mr. McConnell's change to the rules as a hopeful sign. Republican senators felt the heat and went to McConnell and said, "We've got to change it. It shows that they can make other changes, and that we can get documents and witnesses," he said. The attempt by Mr. Schumer containing amendments to the rules resolution was defeated on party line votes. Democrats need to draw 4 GOP voters in the Republican-controlled Senate to pass my amendments, and it would take 2/3 of the Senate to convict Mr. Trump. The Senate was to vote on a final passage of Mr. McConnell's rules resolution after several hours of debate between the Democratic House members known as the impeachment managers, acting as the prosecution in Mr. Trump's defense. The Senate trial kicked off officially last week, nearly a month after the House voted to impeach him. Anyway, we know all this. There's like a really good, it tells you the breakdown and all this and that on here. If you guys are interested, it's the Wall Street Journal is where this article came from. Being the fact that McConnell has, in my opinion, is backing down, that is not good. And I pray and hope that we don't see them completely cave on everything. I pray that they will somehow maintain a sense of control and not allow the Democrats to come over and dictate what's going to happen in the Senate. I'm not liking that he's bowing to them, but whatever he thinks he has to do, it's all on him. I hear you, and I'm about to get off here too, guys. It's been a long day. I love each and every one of you, and we'll be going back at it again tomorrow. He found an awesome rabbit hole. Okay, I'll have to go check him out. Okay, take care, guys. I love y'all, and again, like always, I will keep you guys in the know. All right, guys, thumbs up. Love y'all. Bye.